Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? First, we're going to start by understanding the why. There's lots of amazing research findings that we'll be sharing on what students of online learning really want, what will keep them coming back, and what are they willing to pay for. We're also going to share 4 key trends in online learning that set the most successful businesses apart and what you can learn from their success. Next, we're going to get into the brass tacks, the what. What exactly is a learning community? What are the core tenets that make them so successful? And I'll also share a couple of real-world examples of creators and businesses who are growing through communities and what you can learn from them. Next is the how. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need in order to harness all of these trends and tackle this huge opportunity head on. And as I said, stick around till the end for a fantastic offer for everyone on this call that you will not want to miss. So let's get into it. I'm thrilled to introduce and hand it over to Britt, who will start by sharing the why behind everything we're talking about, backed by brand new research trends and just really irrefutable evidence that learning communities are the next big thing for your business. So over to you, Britt.
My name is Britt Sclovey, and I'm a director of product here at Thinkific. Thinkific is deeply committed to helping people like you grow and spread your impact. This is in our very DNA, born from online course creators and grown into the leading platform for knowledge commerce businesses. We believe in the incredible power of education and have seen firsthand that when you unite business and education, you create an unstoppable force for positive change. In the next few minutes, I'll share insights on the changing online learning landscape and why learning communities are key to supercharge your business this year. Let's get started. Online learning is officially the new normal. Between 2019 and 2021, the industry exploded to over $315 billion in value, and the demand from students worldwide is greater than ever. The appeal of affordable, flexible, and accessible knowledge on everything from Excel skills to axe throwing is here to stay. But the future of online learning won't look like it is today. The first wave of online learning had a clear advantage. It was asynchronous. No longer did students have to plan their schedules around others or physical locations. Instead, they could learn practically anything, anytime, anywhere. This dramatically lowered the barriers to gaining knowledge. However, learning on the internet tends to be lonely. The engaging connections and aha moments that we've all experienced in person can feel disconnected in a digital world. To get a pulse on the future of online learning, our team decided to survey over 2,000 people who have paid for an online course. We learned that nearly 40% of online students have paid for a course they did not complete or have purchased a course and later regretted it. While the freedom to create or consume online course content has incredible value, on-demand courses alone do not represent the full potential of a learning business. Overwhelmingly, those surveyed felt they would get more value from an online course if it had a community attached. The good news: more creators are finding success in the knowledge economy than ever before. When we look into Thinkific's platform data, we see more people succeeding in building revenue through online education year over year. We know that the experience of online learning can match and surpass the experience of offline learning. Let's take a deeper look at 4 trends that set the most successful trailblazers apart and how you can use their recipes for success to bring in more business and better engage students. Trend number 1, learning incorporates interaction. Online learning is evolving. Pause, let's start that again. Trend number 1, learning incorporates interaction. Online learning is evolving to a much more diverse and personal way of sharing knowledge, one that's grounded in an aspect many people overlook: community. The connections and stickiness of communities make them the new operating system for online learning businesses. They're on demand in real time, self-guided and interactive, mobile, flexible, and engaging. Most importantly, they complement every other form of online learning to build more robust businesses. With Thinkific Communities, connections become the focal point of a creator's business. Students can devour hours of content in one day and then participate in a live community discussion that evening, or the other way around. These opportunities are all possible. Trend number 2, creators are thinking bigger than online courses. This is part of a broader shift to diversify revenue streams. Beyond courses, the main products that creators are interested in expanding into this year include memberships, communities, coaching, and digital downloads. But creators aren't just offering more unique products and services in 2022, they're also packaging them in more creative ways. For example, our top creators are 3 times more likely to sell courses in bundles with other learning content or product offers. With communities, we prioritize flexibility and control to suit various business models. For example, you can establish a premium community membership with exclusive content, or you could choose to bundle a course and a community to increase average order value. The choices are yours. In the past, communities started in Facebook groups or other open platforms. For our third trend, we're seeing a rapid shift to private communities hosted under your brand. Don't confuse your audience with a community. An audience is built from multiple channels and typically lives on someone else's network or on someone else's brand. Creators tell us they are looking for a more direct relationship with their current and future customers, not just followers. A Thinkific learning community is built under your own brand, giving you control to customize and set your own rules of engagement. This allows for a curated experience that's more valuable to members and more profitable for you. On to our last trend. Flexible pricing and selling strategies are driving more sustainable businesses. Earlier this year, we dug into data from the top 20% of Thinkific customers. One of the key findings is that the top creators are twice as likely to run an online community for their students. They're also getting more experimental and flexible with pricing. We found they're 2 times as likely to offer subscription pricing and nearly 1.5 times more likely to upsell additional learning content. One of the most profound benefits of learning communities is the creation of more predictable income. The most common approach is a membership model, but communities can also power cost-effective lead generation and a multitude of selling strategies. And with a built-in feedback loop, you can tap into a community to gauge interest before you invest in creating more formal product offers and income streams. These 4 trends point to one big finding: communities fuel stronger businesses. Let's recap these juicy insights with actionable steps for your business in 2022 and beyond. First, connections shift learning from a one-sided experience to a two-way exchange. You can foster conversation around the content that you're most passionate about. Customers will come for your content, but they'll stay for your community. Today, you heard how diverse learning experiences grow revenue and engage customers. By offering more than one product, you can give your audience multiple entry points and serve a wider variety of learning styles, all while gaining invaluable insight and feedback that can inform future content. Communities are more valuable than an ephemeral audience. You can own a branded, ad-free space for your customers to engage and connect with your business and each other. Lastly, sustainable and scalable income is more achievable when using multiple offers. Experiment with selling through subscription, bundles, and bumps. Okay, so now that we've covered the why, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. What exactly is a learning community? Let's start out with a crystal clear definition. A learning community is an online learning environment created and owned by you, where your audience can come together to build meaningful relationships, shared interests, and common goals, while you build your business. So let's break this down. A learning community is online, so that's pretty straightforward. It's created, owned, and controlled by you. So that means you're not battling ads, algorithms, and you're not under anyone else's brand. It's your space and your audience. It's also customer centric, your customers. It's a space for your audience or students to come together and not only connect with you, but also connect with each other, building meaningful relationships and learning from one another. That's a really powerful experience to be able to deliver. And while all that is going on, you get to build and grow your business, because this learning community can be priced, packaged, and sold to that engaged audience of people who already value the knowledge and expertise that you're sharing and the connections you're facilitating. Wow. All right, so now that we're clear on what a learning community is, there are fundamental tenets of what makes any learning community strong and sustainable. I'll pass it to Ellie to talk more about how you can build a successful community.
Thanks, Britt. Wow, so much amazing content and learnings in the last 10 minutes. If you're feeling like me, I want to go back and rewatch some of that. So a reminder that we will share the recording so you can go back and check out all of those amazing findings. So let's talk about the 4 pillars of a strong community and the key questions to ask yourself when getting started with yours. The first pillar that is so important and grounding, and also what makes it unique to communities, is membership. This is a term we hear a lot in a business sense, but fundamentally, membership is a sense of belonging and identification with other members with similar goals and interests. So when you're building the foundation of your community, it's important to ask yourself, what gives them a reason to see themselves as members? How will you create a sense of belonging and emotional safety for them? The second pillar of a strong community is influence. And I'm not talking about your influence in your community. Members of a community should feel empowered to have influence over what the group does and how they feel and think. Otherwise, there's really no motivation to participate in a community, and you would just, revert back to that one-way learning. So with that in mind, when you're thinking about growing your community, ask yourself things like, how can I make my community feel safe? How can I empower members to spark authentic, meaningful conversations? And how can I model the kind of behavior that I want to see and inspire within my community? Pillar number 3 of what makes a strong community is integration and fulfillment of needs. So beyond the status of being a member, those in your community should feel rewarded for their participation and actually get value from being part of the group. So when you're thinking about how to engage and nurture your audience, ask yourself, what needs will my community meet for them? And what purpose does my community serve for my students? And what are its key value propositions? And really, it's like existential questions. Why does this exist for my audience or for my students? And these questions will also help you better cement the vision, mission, and purpose of your community. And the 4th pillar is shared emotional connection. This comes from authentic, quality interactions and bonds that are created and that you can help to create within your community. This is such a huge part of what strengthens customer loyalty, connection, and retention. And that is what is so powerful about that 2-way exchange versus just one-way learning. And so, of course, it's important to know what the shared values of your community are so that you can clearly define them, communicate them, and foster them. Examples of shared values might be as simple as be kind, be curious, be helpful. And these values can actually also inform the fundamental guidelines that you create for your community. So we've got the key pillars of what makes a strong, stable community. So now let's talk about the common goals of a learning community specifically. These are very much built upon those 4 pillars that we just talked about, but your goals are going to be more rooted in that focus on learning, education, and growth. First up is shared learning, which can also lead to shared reliance. At the heart of any learning community is the aim to create an effective space in which your students can achieve their goals. In a learning community, You want to give your members the opportunity to share the learning process with their peers. And this could be through things like sharing resources and ideas, sharing feedback and critique, driving motivation and encouragement, or just simple Q&A. And these kinds of activities help members connect, learn together, and better understand the material or the topic at hand. And then as your community grows and your members continue to connect and engage, they'll learn and get value from one another. And so that means that there's less reliance on you for all of the answers, and you can lean into that community to support one another so that you can then focus on what matters most for you, which is growing your business. The second common goal is connectedness, which is not the same thing as connectivity. I'm not talking about all the amazing technological ways that allow us to connect with one another today. I'm talking about developing human connections and camaraderie between members. The best learning community environments are collaborative, with open communication that is aimed at promoting better learning. So members connect and share ideas, but they also get emotional support and ideally have fun together. And so while it is a space that's dedicated to learning, it's also a supportive social space that drives that connectedness between members. Another common and important goal of a learning community is support. It sounds obvious, but support can be both academic and emotional, encouraging members to share their experiences and challenges, listen to one another, and grow together. Learning communities also provide a space for experts to step in and offer their support, because really anyone can be an expert on a given topic at some point, even if they're not the instructor. Maybe one of your members has previous experience on a particular subject and can share extra insights and experience with their peers. An open, supportive space can foster and encourage this type of sharing, which benefits the entire community. And this ongoing support not only helps to promote in-depth learning, but it also drives motivation and accountability, because your members are on a learning journey together now, and this gives them even more reasons to fully show up and participate in your community. Next up is relevancy. So from a business building standpoint, your learning community can become a place in which to sell and promote other relevant learning products or offerings. Today, the intention of your customer generally is stretched, but in your community, you have the attention of an engaged, curated audience who are there because they care about what you have to offer. This means when you have something new to offer, you're not just another business trying to sell them something. You're actually sharing more expertise, which they already value and care about. And then even before selling, you can just kickstart ideas in your community, listening to feedback and opinions from your audience, and really just bringing them into that ideation and planning process. And this not only benefits you and the relevancy and value of your future content, but it also gives your audience a sense of purpose, influence, exclusivity, and belonging within your community. And finally, another possible goal of your learning community might be to get started quickly. So if you already have a course or another learning product, maybe like a podcast or even a coaching business, your learning community might be a complement to these things. But maybe you're not sure about the curriculum for your first course, and maybe time is of the essence. And in this case, getting started with a community is a great way to get your learning business off the ground quickly. It allows you to focus on building and nurturing your audience first, which, as I'm sure all of you would agree, is one of the hardest parts of building a business. And it's easier to start a community than almost any other learning product. Of course, growing a thriving community takes time, commitment, strategy, and ongoing maintenance. But you can literally create and launch a community in under an hour. And taking that first step to get things off the ground can be everything that you need to start gaining traction and momentum. All right, so we've got the core pillars of what makes a community of any kind strong and grounded. We've got common goals for a learning community, ensuring that you have clarity and direction in what you want to achieve with it. And so what does all of this actually look like in the real world? I've got a couple of amazing examples of successful businesses that are growing with learning communities on Thinkific. First up, Nia Technique is a holistic fitness practice focused on supporting your mind, body, and soul. Christina Wolf, general manager of Nia Technique, realized the value of building a community around her brand early on in her entrepreneurial journey at Thinkific. Thinkific Communities offered the perfect opportunity to drive student engagement among their students alongside their courses. And in the words of Christina herself, communities help our students stay connected with each other and their instructors in real time and build relationships with one another across the globe. These personal relationships help our students get more out of their online training experience and engage more deeply with our brand. So, Nia Technique uses a range of engagement techniques to encourage participation and collaboration in their learning community, including things like empowering their trainers to jump in and authentically engage in their community by actually creating an engagement guide to support them at scale. They always encourage new members to introduce themselves in the community, creating engagement habits early in their learning journey with Nia. They prompt students to join their community in their first student welcome email. So that's driving home the value of communal learning right out of the gate for their members. And they also blend synchronous and asynchronous learning methods by hosting live sessions for their community members. So here are 3 takeaways from Nia Technique that you can easily apply in your own community. Firstly, promote your community. Encourage engagement with your online community from day one. Also create clear community guidelines. You can empower members and admins to engage and post while also establishing the right tone, boundaries, and direction for what you want your community to be. And finally, make your community an integrated, consistent part of the learning experience. By encouraging students to post about their learning experience, share their key takeaways and learnings from the course content, and asking for feedback, it's really ensuring that your members are consistently feeling seen and supported. Next up, the balanced runner. Running expert Jay Grunke is the entrepreneur and founder behind The Balanced Runner, a brand that helps runners relieve pain and improve their performance. The Balanced Runners learning community brings running enthusiasts together in one place, with Jay at the center as the primary thought leader and face of the brand. Their community is engaged and active, and that's largely due to this hands-on approach from Jay. Jay committed to her community from the beginning by not only putting herself out there as the face of the brand, engaging directly in the community herself, but also by creating consistent engagement routines that drive connection with her audience. And this may not be scalable for you or may not be something that you can do forever, but at the end of the day, at the very beginning, your community starts with you. And so engaging directly and consistently with your community can really go a long way in building brand loyalty, trust, and real relationships with your audience. So here are 3 takeaways from Jay and the Balanced Runner that you can apply in your own community. Firstly, setting routines for regular engagement. If you can, and at least in the beginning as you're building and growing your community, commit to a routine of checking in with community members, responding to comments, and posting new content frequently in your community. Becoming the face of the brand. If this feels strategically aligned for you and your business, then actively and holistically build this approach into your community engagement strategy. And finally, be encouraging and authentic. Tied to the second point here, as the face of the brand, you want to model the engagement that you want to see among your members by making sure that all your engagement is encouraging, authentic, and genuinely helpful for your members. All right. Well, I hope that you're feeling inspired and empowered and excited and ready to dive in. So the final question is how? How can you take everything you've just learned and truly harness these opportunities, these best practices, all these great learnings from real businesses to achieve success in your own business today? Well, you might have figured this out by now, but that's where this limited time offer comes in. And I'm genuinely so excited to be able to share this with all of you here. So first of all, you need a platform on which to build your learning community. So you'll get a 30-day free trial of Thinkific Start. And this is really the best plan on our platform if you're ready to start building and monetizing your learning business. And of course, the plan includes Thinkific Communities. I wanted to share a high-level snapshot on what you get inside your Thinkific community in terms of features and functionalities. So first of all, it's easily customized and branded so that it feels like your own space, not someone else's platform. You can price, package, and sell your community in whatever way you want, so it can become a source of predictable income if that's part of your strategy. And in terms of functionality within the community experience, there are spaces, which are almost like virtual rooms within your community, in which you can host focused discussions with your members, and from which you can also connect directly to your course if you have one. So you can make it super easy for your students to jump from your course to your community and vice versa. Your members will engage and connect through profiles, @mentions, likes, comments, threads, and notifications, all of which act as mechanisms for bringing your members back into the community to engage. Trending posts will allow you to see and engage with current hot topics in your community and maintain that momentum. And live events offer synchronous ways to educate and engage your audience, allowing you to schedule, organize, manage, and display upcoming events right from within your community. And all of the above enable a powerful, blended, collaborative learning experience. But of course, we have a ton of amazing resources on how to succeed with Thinkific Communities, which is a bit of a teaser for what else you get with this bundle. So, to arm you with the fundamental knowledge and understanding of how to succeed with Thinkific Communities, we're also going to include access to our on-demand course on how to build a thriving community on Thinkific. And similar courses out there in the market today would cost at least $400. So coupled with the Thinkific Start plan, that's bringing the value of this bundle up to $499. So in this on-demand course, you will learn how to build a thriving community that helps your students learn and your business grow. And you'll learn this by tapping into 30 years of a combined experience from your wonderful instructors, Melissa, Kiri, and Aaron. This is our expert in-house education team here at Thinkific, so they really know their stuff. And finally, to make sure you're feeling totally supported every step of the way, we're going to include 4 live training sessions hosted by both Thinkific experts and industry-leading partners who will share everything you need to know to plan, create, launch, manage, and grow your first learning community on Thinkific. So over 4 weeks, you'll be taught directly by this powerful team of platform and industry experts who bring decades of real-world experience, knowledge, and expertise to the table. And they'll be there every step of the way over those 4 strategically planned sessions to help you grow your online business using the power of Thinkific Communities. And this kind of hands-on industry training is worth at least $1,200 when compared to similar packages in the market today. So that's bringing the total value of this Thinkific Communities starter bundle to $1,699. But as I keep saying, it's an exclusive offer, so that means you get a special deal. Although I don't know if you can necessarily call it a deal because, well, we're offering this packed platform and training bundle for literally $0. Cue excitement in the chat. I love to see it. Okay, so I'm trying not to sound like a cheesy car salesman, but I'm just genuinely really excited about being able to offer all of this to all of you absolutely free. So we're going to make sure that you can get to this offer in a bunch of different ways. there'll be a pop-up where you'll be able to claim your offer. So you'll see that. You can also pull up your phone and scan this QR code to pull the browser up on your phone, or you can go directly to the URL that you see here on the screen, thinkific.com/communities/offer. So head to the landing page. It has all the information that you'll need to know about this offer. And very shortly, we're going to start answering questions. Thank you for all the questions and chat so far. Very excited to be able to dive in and answer a few questions. So definitely hop into the chat if you haven't already. Let us know what your biggest, most valuable takeaway from the webinar was, and of course, any questions. And we will start the questions shortly. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So just transitioning to the Q&A portion of the session. So we've had so many wonderful questions. Thank you so much for your engagement in the chat. I'm going to try and tackle the ones that we think will be, the most valuable to everyone. And, if we can't get to all of them, I just want to say right out of the gate, you can always email support@thinkific.com. And we will definitely do our best to get back to you with more information. But for now, I'll cover as much as I can in the next little bit. So first, I have a couple of questions that I'm grouping together that I think a lot of people want to know about. So how are Thinkific communities different or better than just hosting a community on Facebook? So I think the most important thing to call out is that Thinkific communities allow you to have total control over your community. So you have control over your brand, your audience, and your content, because you're not competing with the ads or the algorithms that are really out of your hands on a platform like Facebook. And while Facebook can absolutely be a really powerful tool for lead gen and audience building and, creating a platform to do all of that, you just don't have full control over the experience that you're trying to create for your students. And there's just, there's data privacy concerns. That's a matter of fact. A few other things to call out are that Thinkific communities allow for more focused conversations around your learning content. So you can also brand it to match the look and feel of your business, which is, really more than just things like fonts and colors, because this is, this brand consistency is really part of your learning experience. And you can now monetize and sell your Thinkific community as a source of reliable recurring income. So that's obviously huge, and that will definitely be covered in a lot more depth in the on-demand course and the live training that you saw as part of the offer, in terms of how to actually do that, how to price and package your community. So huge learnings to get from that training. So the next question, which is sort of similar, but there's a little bit more that I wanted to cover, is why would my customers pay for this? Why would they pay for a community on Thinkific if they've had free access to a Facebook group? And that's a great question. So definitely a lot of what I shared in the response before, is relevant, but I'll try and focus a bit more on the student or the community member perspective. So Thinkific communities ensure less distractions. So the whole ads and algorithms thing, it's not just about you, but it's also about the student experience. And it's a more familiar, consistent learning experience because it's aligned to your brand or your course. And we actually hear from a lot of creators that their customers are starting to tell them that they don't like Facebook and that they want to move off. It's someone the other day said it's a scroll hole. It's full of distractions. It's where you go to connect with your friends and go shopping, and none of which are helpful in establishing an effective learning environment. And so this is particularly relevant as well with certain learning materials and subjects. We have one of our really successful communities customers. They are a women's health and wellness brand and business. And they hear from their members more and more that it doesn't really feel like a totally safe space for the personal conversations that they're having with one another in the group. And so while so many of us have these deep-seated habits and patterns of using Facebook, the reality is that a lot of us are ready to move off of it, or at least diversify in terms of why we're using these platforms and for what. And that's really important and actually quite empowering for you as creators as you're thinking about developing or enhancing that communal learning experience today. And another thing that I want to add here, sort of reinforce from what we shared earlier, Thinkific communities are learning communities, and that is not the same thing as a social network. And I think we conflate the two a lot. And so, they're a destination for education, first and foremost. And so by creating this like safe, familiar, collaborative space under your trusted brand, that empowers members to engage and share and ask questions and also step up and answer other people's questions. And so in doing that, you're helping your audience build confidence and mastery on a subject. And so that's really the value of that like collaborative exchange versus the one-way learning. Because learning alone can be really hard, and we know that, and we've heard that, and it can be exhausting, and sometimes it can be unmotivating. And so that's where communities comes in. I often think about this in terms of an analogy around like traditional academia, where if you've ever attended like a lecture and you do a lot of learning when the instructor is teaching, but then you stick around after class, you chat with your classmates, you ask questions, you share opinions, and like that conversation actually enriches your learning from the class. And so that is the power of a learning community. So hopefully that covered a lot of the sort of like the Facebook type question, or like, how is this different than social media? I think it's a really, really valid question. So hopefully I covered some ground there. Okay, so another question, I'm just pulling them up here. I already have a course on Thinkific. How do I sell my community? What are my options here? This is a great question, and so important in terms of the new product that we just launched. So previously on Thinkific, as some of you may know, you could only earn income by selling your course. And so as of last week, you can now price, package, bundle, and sell your community to become a source of recurring, reliable income. But there are definitely a number of ways to do this. It's not one size fits all, and it really depends on your business and your goals and all sorts of things. But I thought I would share, last week I had a call with one of our customers actually, who is looking to sell her community and is thinking through the different like marketing and selling strategies that she wants to employ. And she wants to do this in terms of how to best position her learning offering. And what she's building is a model where she will first and foremost sell monthly membership access to her exclusive community on Thinkific, and she'll offer this community subscription as a bundle with one of her courses. And so that means that she can sort of position the course as like a bonus or an add-on as part of being a community member. So she called it like flipping the script, because I think a lot of us think about having a course first and then maybe thinking about adding a community, but she's doing the opposite. And so that was really cool to hear, that how she's thinking about it, because for her, she kept saying like, I want that recurring, reliable income. That's what I need for my business. And that's what selling your community can offer you. Another option she considered actually was assessing like different packaging options. So she was thinking she could sell her course as a standalone and then promote her community as an order bump, which is a way that you can seamlessly promote an additional product at checkout on the Thinkific platform. So that is also another way to do it. Like I said, there's no one size fits all, and this is definitely something that will be covered in the course and the live training, and there's lots of amazing resources on our help center as well. So you can also go to support.thinkific.com. It's a great search menu, like you can search anything, and it's a great search engine for any further questions that you might have. Okay, what else have we got here? Can you segment topics or groups of people within Thinkific communities so it's not just one wall of posts and text? Yes, you definitely can, with a communities feature called Spaces. And so you can think of spaces like virtual rooms within your community in which you can host discussions on specific topics or facilitate introductions between your members or post important updates, or even use them as like cohort segments within the community if you have cohort-based learning or courses. So when you get into your community for the first time, we do create some default spaces for you, like introductions or general discussions, but you can customize all of those based on what you want. And this will actually become even more valuable in the coming months when we'll be launching exclusive spaces, which will allow creators to gate certain spaces for certain members. So you can be really intentional with your segmentation and with the conversations that are happening in those spaces. Okay. I already have a course on Thinkific. How can I promote my community to my students once I create it? Great question. So one way that we make this super easy, within the platform, within the product, in order to kind of enable that more seamless blended learning experience between your course and your community, is through a feature called the Course and Community Connection. It's pretty straightforward. So in just a few clicks, you can actually link your course to one of the spaces that what I mentioned previously, one of the spaces that you create. Takes 2 minutes to do, and it just will make it so much easier for your students to jump from your course to your community and vice versa. So it becomes much more seamless and blended, like I said. Additionally, from what I mentioned earlier in the webinar, some of the creators that we speak to will include calls to action or prompts in other areas of their learning business. So maybe within their welcome email, or if you have a Facebook group, you could include that in, one of your pinned posts, a call to action to drive folks from one place to another. And we've seen that, the creators that do this early on and consistently and have this as just a regular part of their experience, they have more engagement because they're making that community a central part of their learning experience. And then also more directly, if you enroll a student in your community on Thinkific, you can write a post and mention them and say, welcome to the community. We've seen some creators that do this with every single member of their community. And depending on the size, this might not always be scalable for you forever, but it's a great way to show up, wholly and authentically, like Jay from the Balanced Runner, showing up and tagging your members and saying, welcome, where are you from, and getting to know them is a great way to sort of promote that community experience. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. So a couple others, I'll just cover a few more as we'll come up on time. So one question, is it better to have one large community for the whole academy or separate ones for individual courses? I think I don't have a specific answer, but really the choice is yours. Overall, we would recommend having a single community as a hub for your business, and you can use spaces to segment and have those segmented discussions, like I said. And the more that we build out our spaces feature with exclusive spaces, those can really be used for however you want to segment, whether that be based on a course or a lesson or a chapter. But I think what you do want is to have, in order to drive that ongoing engagement, having a central place rather than segmenting it across many, many communities is likely to have more of an impact and create more of that, sense of community. Okay. Can content be scheduled? It's, a tactical question. And right now, we don't have the capability to schedule content. It's definitely on our radar as a super powerful tool for creators to manage their posts. We do have the capability now with live events, which are a feature within communities, to duplicate live events. So you can schedule a series of live events into the future, and then that will show up on your actual community page. So when your members jump into your community, they'll see all the events that you have scheduled, and they can RSVP. So, that's one way to kind of have scheduled activities and scheduled engagement into the future. Okay, I think I will just take one or two more. Do you support notifications beyond email? Yes, we do. very excited to share that you can tag members in your community. So you can @mention them and they will receive web notifications within the community inside Thinkific. And we will be expanding upon this with more broadcast notifications coming soon, meaning that right now we have individual notifications. So if someone gets @mentioned or if someone who made a post gets a reply, that individual will get a notification. And coming very soon, we will have what we're calling the one-to-many notifications, or like, broader. So if a creator posts in the community, then everyone gets notified. And that's a really big one. We know that it's super important. We're very invested in that. And that will be coming very soon. One question that I've seen come up is whether or not there will be a live demo. And so great question. Of course, I'm so excited to hear that everyone is like so keen to get into the product. That is going to be included in the live training as part of this offer. So $0 to claim the offer and be able to not only go through the course, but also to be able to do the live training where you will be able to get a live demo. It's, I think there's only so much we can cover in like 50 minutes. And so it won't be something that we cover today, but something that you can definitely access. Thank you so much, everyone. I will just make sure that we share that offer one more time so that if anyone didn't get a chance to claim it, you should be able to do that with the offer. So thank you so much, everyone, again, for all your engagement. And we look forward to seeing all the wonderful communities that you'll build on our platform. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.